Romano reveals verbal agreement for £50 million star valid this summer. Very keen on a move. Transfer expert Fabrizio Romano has provided a detailed update on Manchester United's move for Carlos Baleba, with a verbal agreement still valid. Baleba was among Man Utd's leading transfer targets during last summer's transfer window, though the Premier League giants were ultimately priced out of a move. Without Champions League football, Man Utd had limited funds after signing Benjamin Sesko, Brian Bumo, Matheus Cunha and Sen Lamans, and could not afford to pay over £100 million for Baleba. This failed move has impacted Baleba this season, with the talented midfielder struggling to reach his potential for much of this campaign. And this could work in Man Utd's favour, with The Athletic reporting this week that they feel he may only cost around £50 million this summer. Romano has revealed that Baleba remains under consideration at Man Utd as a replacement for Casemiro. I want to mention a player I have been discussing since August last year, Carlos Baleba. The Brighton midfielder was a top target for Manchester United last summer and remains under consideration, Romano said on his YouTube channel. At this stage, nothing has been decided or advanced. However, he is still on the club's shortlist as they plan potential midfield reinforcements. In August 2025, Manchester United had an agreement in principle with Baleba on personal terms. The player was keen on the move, but Brighton refused to sell. The same situation occurred again in January. At that time, Manchester United indicated that they could revisit the deal in the summer of 2026. Romano has also pointed out that the verbal agreement between Man Utd and Baleba remains valid ahead of this summer. Now, Baleba remains a target for both the scouting department and figures within the club, Romano added. There are still several factors to consider, including the appointment of a permanent manager, budget decisions, and Brighton's stance. However, what I can confirm is that the verbal agreement between Baleba and Manchester United from 2025 remains valid for 2026. Baleba could be managed by Michael Carrick at Man Utd next season, with Romano confirming that the interim boss has a serious chance of being their next permanent manager. At Manchester United, the internal feeling is very positive regarding Michael Carrick, Romano revealed. The club are very happy with his recent work, even more so in the past few weeks. He started well, but his recent performances have strengthened his position significantly. There is satisfaction with the results, tactical approach, attitude, and especially his relationship with the players. He has built strong connections with senior figures in the dressing room, as well as younger players. At the moment, Carrick has a serious chance of being appointed permanently as head coach. However, nothing has been finalised or officially confirmed yet, so the situation remains open. Brighton and Hove Albion have played down suggestions that Carlos Baleba could be sold for £50 million this summer, with sources telling Team Talk that such figures fall well below their valuation of the midfielder, who remains a major target for Manchester United. Baleba has emerged as one of Brighton's most prized assets since arriving from Lille in 2022. And while the club accept he could move on in the upcoming window, any deal will only be sanctioned if their demands are met. Brighton had previously been quoting figures in the region of £100 million for the 22-year-old, reflecting both his importance to the side and his long-term potential. While there is now some internal acknowledgement that a slightly reduced fee could be accepted, Team Talk understands that any realistic deal would still need to exceed £70 million. As such, reports doing the rounds right now that are suggesting Baleba could be available for as little as £50 million have been firmly dismissed. Man Utd want Baleba. Brighton won't roll over. Manchester United remain most interested in the Cameroon international, having explored a move for him last summer. With Casemiro departing Old Trafford via free agency, Baleba is viewed as an ideal candidate to fill that void in midfield and become the club's primary defensive midfielder from next season and beyond. United are also planning to recruit at least one additional central midfielder, and Baleba's profile is seen as a strong fit for the club's long-term rebuild. Sources indicate that United have maintained contact with Baleba's representatives and have kept his camp informed of their ongoing interest as they continue to assess their summer options. However, United sources have also played down claims that any agreement for the upcoming summer is already in place with the player. They are not alone in the race either. A number of other top clubs across Europe also monitoring the situation, aware that Brighton could be open to negotiations if their £70 million plus valuation is met. For now, Brighton remain relaxed about Baleba's future, but their stance is clear. Any club hoping to land him this summer will need to come significantly closer to their asking price than the figures currently being suggested.